So what's the proposed solution in detail? For starters, there will be two bridges, one downtown and one in the east end in the Prospect area, right by where 42 meets up with the Gene Snyder. And what the project is going to do is extend the Gene Snyder past 42. It actually already currently meets up with 42, but this part is only one lane in either direction. And it's going to extend 265 all the way to the river. Now the folks in this area, Prospect up here, and Juniper Beach, and Transylvania Beach, Ken Carlin neighborhood, folks in Wolf Pen Branch, they didn't really want an interstate running through their commercial center or through their backyards. So this is going to be extended via two 2,000-foot tunnels, which was particularly, the tunnels are going to be bored or drilled. They're not going to be excavated. You're not going to dig a huge hole, build your tunnel, and then put dirt over it. That was particularly helpful because there's a historic estate right here, and so the tunnels are going to leave this area almost completely undisturbed. The bridge will make landfall just north of Utica, Indiana, and then the interstate is going to continue until it meets up with Indiana Road 265. There'll be a new interchange at Salem Road, and this will give improved access to places like the Charlestown State Park and also the other remnants of the old Indiana ammunition plant that are going to be commercially redeveloped. Don't look for a new exit at the Gene Snyder and 42. This is going to retain current access. It will be a partial interchange. The folks on 42 can get on the Gene Snyder. Folks on the Gene Snyder can get to 42, but if you're on 42 and want to go to Indiana, and if you're coming from Indiana, the first exit you're going to hit on the Gene Snyder is going to be 71, and of course you can go point south like 22 and Westport Road. Once the road is completed, it will not be a fully circumferential road, but it does give improved options, especially for those folks who are coming from the north or coming from the east and may want to avoid the congestion of, let's say, downtown Jeffersonville or the Kennedy Interchange or the Watterson and 64. And of course, with those people going around the city, it will also give up a little more space in those congested areas for the people who have to use them. So it is an improved option. The downtown bridge will be built shoulder to shoulder with the existing Kennedy. It will be a 3-tower cable-stayed bridge, but there's more to the bridges project than just the bridges. And the main thing is the rebuilding of the Kennedy Interchange. And planners want to rebuild it because they want to get rid of the reason we call it Spaghetti Junction. You've got 3 interstates. You've got 64, that's supposed to be coming from the east, 71 coming from the north, and then you've got 65 coming from the north and south as well. You have left-hand entrances and exits. What's a little tricky is folks coming from I-65, they're southbound and they want to get on I-64 and east and 71 north. They have a left-hand merge. And I noticed that the people already on 64 and 71 don't really care if you're trying to merge. You also have tight weaves, quick decision points. The new interchange, let's see, I'm going to use green. The new Kennedy Interchange is going to be built to the south, and that's mainly to limit the impact on existing traffic. I mean, it's just going to be a nightmare to try to undo. I mean, this whole block, I've drawn it as just kind of one big mess because that's what it is. As 64 approaches 71 and as it approaches the city, it's going to take a left turn a little bit tighter and to the south of where it does today. And it's going to go through Butchertown. It is going to go through, I guess, roughly Adams to the north, Quincy to the south. And as the footage shows, you're going to see that it's going to go through an area that's warehousey, storage area type places that while they will cause displacements, would not exactly break your heart if an interstate were built there. On the other hand, it's about a block away from Washington Street and St. Joseph's Catholic Church, which are just gorgeous. So there is some historic area impact here. And it's going to come through this area, and it's going to meet up with I-65, kind of where Maine meets Hancock. This isn't perfect, but you get the idea. 64 is going to go through the city as one road. It's not going to be split like it is today. It's going to go through the city one road like a normal highway would. All exits and entrances are going to be on the right-hand side, and it will have collector distributor lanes. These are all those extra lanes that you see in places like the Fern Valley Road and the Outer Loop exits on I-65 closer to the Gene Snyder. Make it easy to get on and off, but it creates for a very wide expanse of asphalt and concrete. The engineers say this is critical because as you're hitting I-65 south of where you were before, you've shortened your time between all the merging taking place here and your first downtown exit. But there's more to this project than just the main interchange. Story and Melwood are two roads that run parallel to each other in this part of town. These will get a little connector lane, so you won't have to go all the way to Spring or Frankfort to get between the two roads. It doesn't seem like a big deal to me, but they're going to get another connector lane. Frankfort will get its own exit on I-71. It's going to be a partial exit. Traffic southbound on I-71 will be able to exit onto Frankfort, and Frankfort Avenue drivers will be able to exit northbound onto 71, but that's it. There's also, Shelby and Campbell will get connector streets to River Road. Witherspoon will be extended by a mile to meet up with Frankfort. And again, all of this stuff is just to help with connectivity in this part of the city that's so heavily impacted by this gigantic, huge interstate coming along. And the Story Avenue exit onto 64 will be closed, and that will be part of the collector-distributor system. This area, right along the river, it's about 40 to 45 acres, a prime riverfront area, will be ceded back to the state. I mean, ideally it will be torn down, and I hope we could have some very nice green area in addition to what we already have now, because this interstate is going to take a little bit of the Extreme Park and the current green areas we have now, but we get an additional 40 to 45 acres.